This man was one of the most powerful men in America. Jimmy Hoffa could make politicians nervous, bring thousands of workers to a standstill, and make some of the country's most dangerous men answer his calls. But in 1975, Detroit, Hoffa received a message that made him cancel everything else. "Come alone, we know where they bury the first one." Hoffa drove to a quiet restaurant outside Detroit that afternoon. He expected a meeting. Instead, nobody was waiting for him. The parking lot was almost empty. But sitting beneath a windshield wiper on Hoffa's car was a small envelope. Inside was a photograph. It showed Hoffa standing outside the same restaurant. The photograph had been taken the night before. Hoffa reportedly showed the photograph to an associate and asked who had taken it. Nobody knew. Then he noticed something worse. In the background of the photograph was a man standing beside a telephone pole. Hoffa recognized him. The man had supposedly been dead for 3 years. That afternoon, Hoffa entered the restaurant. According to the story, he asked the manager whether anyone had been asking about him. The manager said no. Then Hoffa asked about a locked storage room beneath the building. The manager looked confused. There was no storage room on the restaurant's floor plan. That evening, Hoffa didn't come home. Police found his car exactly where he had left it. There was no sign of a struggle, no blood, no broken glass. But inside the vehicle, investigators discovered something that didn't belong there: a second set of car keys. They didn't fit Hoffa's car. They belonged to a vehicle that had been reported stolen 6 months earlier. Detectives traced the keys to an abandoned garage several miles away. The building had been empty for years. When they forced open the door, they found an old chair in the middle of the room. Nothing else, except for a wall covered with photographs. There were photographs of missing men, and at the very center was Jimmy Hoffa. Investigators began removing the photographs one by one. Some showed men who had disappeared in Detroit. Others showed people from Chicago, New York, and Cleveland. But the strangest photographs were the newest ones. They showed people who were still alive. One photograph showed a police detective assigned to Hoffa's disappearance. Another showed the restaurant manager, and another showed the investigator standing inside the garage. The photograph had been taken while he was inside the building. Nobody had seen anyone else there. Then detectives discovered a hidden door behind the photographs. It opened into a narrow underground passage. The passage eventually reached an old service tunnel beneath the city. On the wall were dozens of dates. Most were crossed out, but one date wasn't. July 30th, 1975. Hoffa's disappearance. At the end of the tunnel, investigators found an empty room. There was a chair, a table, and a tape recorder. The machine was still running. When detectives played the recording, they heard several voices discussing Hoffa's disappearance. Then came Hoffa's voice. "If you're hearing this, they already know." The tape ended with footsteps. Then a door slammed. Investigators searched the entire tunnel again. They found no person, no body, no equipment capable of producing the recording. And most disturbing of all, the tape was dated 2 days after Hoffa disappeared. Jimmy Hoffa was officially declared dead years later. But according to the story, the strangest piece of evidence was never explained. Every few years, another photograph supposedly appeared at the old investigation office, always showing someone connected to the case. And the final photograph. It showed a detective opening the envelope. Behind him, reflected in the glass, was Jimmy Hoffa. The photograph was dated 1975, but it had been developed in 1998,